just after 11 p.m. on February 15th, 1992, a janky ball machine at the Virginia State Lottery headquarters spit out 6 winning numbers on live television. 8, 11, 13, 15, 19, 20. In the coming days, officials would find out that one person had secured not only the $27,036,142 jackpot, but also won 6 secondary prizes, 132 third-place prizes, and 135 minor prizes, collectively worth another $900,000. This is Laughs from the Past, and that's what we're talking about today, a guy who masterminded the lottery. All right, what's up? Thank you guys very much for joining and tuning in to Laughs from the Past. Last week, we talked about Shengji, pirate, prostitute, to pirate, to respected businesswoman. Today, we're going a little more modern than the 1800s. We're going all the way up to 1980s, 1992. We're talking about a different kind of mastermind. Guy who masterminded numbers. What are your thoughts, Jake? Just from the intro alone.
Intro alone. I mean, I know some of the odds it takes to play and win the lottery. I don't know. I'm going to say not a full-on bad guy. I'm going to say he's some sort of numbers geek that took some geeky chance and it paid off. How about that?
All right, good guess. We are talking about, his name is Stephan Mandl, and he's from Romania, and he's an economist. Those Romanian math freaks, obviously.
Right.
If you're new to Laughs from the Past, how this podcast works is I'm telling Jake a story about history. I have a general knowledge of history because I was a history major, and I enjoy reading history all the time. Jake's just a guy who likes stories and likes making jokes, so he's hearing all this for the first time. And that's how it works here on Laughs from the Past. You good? You set up? You putting headphones in?
Just got really tangled. Now I'm good.
Okay. You want to talk about the lottery at all before we get into this? Do you play the lottery?
Not really. You and me are event guys. So if the Powerball or lottery hits one of those, like, it's getting towards $1 billion, like, I'll buy a ticket, but that's that guy that walks on the tightrope, Nick Wallenda, your boy. Like, it's almost the same thing. Like, okay, this is going to happen once every 3 years. Is he going to die? No, they're probably not going to put it on TV if he's going to die. Am I going to win the lottery? No, but hey, it'd be a hell of a story if I did.
Lottery confuses me because I'm like you. Like, if it gets really high up, it's like, all right, you got to play. Everyone's playing. But also, right. I feel like it should be the opposite. I feel like a smart person would say, well, money's money. You should play when it's at its lowest because you have better odds. Not that the odds are ever great. But
I mean, it doesn't even work like that. Like, that's not how the numbers and statistics work either way. But yes.
The more people playing, the less odds there are.
Yes, but dude, like, to such a slight degree, because the odds of winning are so slim that minuscule if more people are buying tickets.
The history of the lottery in America is kind of cool. Like, Thomas Jefferson, I think, started it because he said, it's like a needed escape for some people, which is true. Like, some people play every week just because that gets their brain out of the grind for a couple days, and they can dream. Now, the dreams will never come true because the lottery is impossible. The odds are so slim. But just that dream, it gives you the ability to dream. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and it's kind of making a comeback, which is hilarious because, I don't know, for years, finance and econ people would tell you, hey, instead of buying those 2 lottery tickets a week, invest that money, and in 30 years, you'll have a nice little goose egg. nest egg, not a goose egg. That'd be even worse. But yeah, I think like you go to a baseball game now, any sporting event, the 50-50 raffle is back in a big way. Because I feel like was around. That was around for a little bit, but everyone was like, no, don't do that. That's stupid. Now people are back into it.
The 50-50 is awesome.
And like you said, it's the same mental mind F. We went to Yankee spring training this year, and we saw the first day they were like, all right, you get 20 tickets for $10. And then it was like 50 tickets for $20. And then I think the final day it was like 74 tickets for $20. It wasn't even an even number. But people see that and they're like, "Oh shoot. I've got more odds to win if I get 70 tickets." But you get more people in the pot and you give everyone that many tickets. They're just trying to get more money in the pot.
Yeah, it's like the same odds. Your odds don't increase, just the prize might increase.
Yes.
But people think the more tickets they buy, the more their odds increase.
Yes.
It's very interesting. So the founding fathers were huge into the lottery as fundraising. John Hancock organized several autos, including one to rebuild Boston's Faneuil Hall. Ben Franklin used a lottery to purchase a cannon for the Continental Army during the Revolutionary War. George Washington ran a lottery to pay for a road into the wilds of Western Virginia. And Thomas Jefferson wrote of lotteries, far from being immoral, they are indispensable to the existence of man. Of course, when he wrote it, he was trying to convince the Virginia legislature to let him hold a lottery to pay off his debts. So that's a little bit of history of lottery in America. And we're talking about the Virginia lottery, but we're really talking about a mastermind mathematician. And
I'd like to say something.
Say it. Say it, Jake. Say everything.
I think the lottery's kind of beautiful.
You like the romanticism of it? Give everyone...
people do win.
Yes, and then their lives get ruined.
That's what... I'm normally a pessimist. Well, no. Let me say
Cynical. You and I are both cynics.
Normally in something like this, if there was just one lottery a year or something, I'd be like, honestly, the government plants a person, and this isn't even government theory. This is just, even if companies were running lotteries, I'd be like, there'd be some sort of cop-out. Not everybody's actually getting an award or something. The lottery's real. If you're luckier than lucky, or if it's even considered lucky, I mean, it's almost rare and scary, and like you said, it often ends with people losing their cool and losing their lives. Mm-hmm. But people win the lottery.
People win the lottery. It's true.
And that's how they get you to play.
I would describe you and I mean, especially me, as cynically optimistic.
Okay.
Which is described as, you acknowledge that humanity's a piece of shit and that life is kind of what it is, but believes in making that worthwhile and having fun, and that there is a lot of capacity for good.
Yeah, there's good stuff going on. A lot of bad.
All the time. All right, so let's talk about this dude. Stephan Mandel. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm guessing Stephan. So he wins everything. This is how he gets started. In the late 1960s, a young Romanian economist named Stephan Mandel was struggling to get by. At the time, Romania was under oppressive communist rule, a period marred by poverty. This article is really wordy and lengthy, so I'm going to have to skip around a little bit. But he was basically poor, okay? He was making $88 a month, and he had a family and kids. So he was like, I got to do something. He was a mathematical whiz, and he said, I'm a weekend mathematician, an accountant without too much education. That's what he described himself. But mathematics properly applied can guarantee a fortune. So, be cool to be good at math, I guess. I'm not. After 4 years of roaming around Europe, Mandel settled in Australia, and he set out to game the lottery in a different way. Okay? So this is where it gets a little confusing. This was his whole strategy. In a typical lottery, a set of numbers within a certain range, say 1 through 50, are randomly selected. And if yours match in any order, you win the jackpot. And the chances of winning are based on the number of possible combinations of these numbers. And it's often in the millions. So if there's like 5 numbers involved versus if there's 6 numbers involved, it's all different amounts, you know?
Right.
So he set out to find jackpots in which the total number of possible ticket combinations was significantly lower than the jackpot. So, for example, let's say a lottery required 6 picks of numbers between 1 and 40. This would yield 3,838,000 possible combinations. Now, if the jackpot is $10 million, if he can buy every single possible combination for $1 a piece, he'd be making $7 million profit when he wins.
Sure.
That's what he did. But the logistics of doing that were crazier, like to have to be able to do that.
Right.
So he would buy, back then, I guess you would purchase the ticket, right? And then fill it out yourself with every number combination. And then you'd go take it and you'd pay then when you handed in your numbers.
They print it out for you, yeah.
It's different.
You can do that still.
Yeah. Yes, you can. But it's a little different now because maybe not. I mean, he would order them in bulk and had a factory with workers filling out each number. And then when computers were invented, that made it a lot easier for him because he could program computers to fill out numbers and like then print it out from the computer for him. He started in Australia. And he would convince hundreds of investors to pool their money together and he created a lotto syndicate. He then developed a full-fledged automation system, a room full of printers and computers running an algorithm that pre-populated tickets with every combination possible. Throughout the 1980s, Mandel's syndicate would wait until a jackpot ballooned to an amount higher than the total amount of combinations, then move to buy thousands of tickets. They managed to win 12 lotteries and rake in $400,000 in smaller prizes across Australia and the UK. Everyone said to him, "You cannot do it. You will not succeed." And then he kind of did succeed. But that system hit a wall. For one, the profits were relatively modest. So in $1.3 million win in 1987, he only pocketed $97K after paying out taxes, investors, workers, and like the whole operation.
Right.
His repeated lotto wins also attracted the attention of Australian lottery authorities, who changed the law multiple times, and by the end of the 80s, they outlawed both computer-printed tickets and bulk purchasing of tickets by an individual. So he had to set his sights on a much bigger feat, one that would make international headlines and boggle the minds of lottery officials around the world, the Virginia Lottery. What are your thoughts on this dude now? Is the juice worth the squeeze?
To a degree, right? Because if you can just collect money by... I mean, how often is the lottery getting that big? And you probably say, I don't know, once every couple months, something like that. Yeah, because in theory, I mean, I don't want to say free money, but it's not even, you're not really conducting business or anything. You're just, big lottery. It's almost, I don't want to say... Yeah, I was going to compare it to the stock market, but that doesn't make sense. But like at the same time, if you're collecting that much money, you can almost do other things that would be more efficient than just trying to beat the lotto. So, I don't know. I appreciate the hustle.
He was making no money before, and now he's making money and like he's got his own business and shit. It's a lot of work. But again, he was like, they're like, out of 1.3 million, he only pocketed $97K. Hey, pocketed $97K in 1980.
Better than not having $97K, yeah.
Better than.
But yeah, it is kind of that you could, with the way that he must have been selling this to businessmen or whoever it was doing, you feel like he had a good passionate business side. It was obviously very skillful with math and numbers. You feel like he could have done something else even, But sure.
Like, go get a job where you're doing this. People need this.
Right.
All right. So anyway, they find out that Virginia has the best. They scouted out American lottos and they found Virginia's ratio to possible winning numbers versus outcome was the best they found. So he set up a shell corporation called Pacific Financial Resources and then set up a trust called the International Lotto Fund. And he convinced 2,524 investors to put at least $3,000 in the pot. So like they weren't thinking they were going to get a huge return, but they were going to get a return. So they gave like small businesses, all these people, blah, blah. He had proven that he could do it on a small scale.
Right. And this goes back to kind of the romantic part of the lottery that I talked about, where if people do win the lotto and this guy comes up to you and says, yeah, you know, I'm really good with numbers. In Australia, we won. How many lotteries did they win?
Like 14 in Australia.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's in. I guess when I keep jumping to the stock market, this is investing for people, but it's made to be something much more believable, which is hilarious. People are saying, "Yeah, I'd rather have this lotto guy. It might take a couple times, but I think he can turn my 3,000 into 6,000 a lot easier and quicker than, I don't know, doing it on the stock market."
It's weird. So, because like part of you's like, anyone can do this. Like he was like, anyone can do my math. If you can buy all the tickets, then you'll win because there's more money coming in prizes than there are tickets. Anyone can figure that out. It's just like the logistics and actually doing it. And he did it.
Yeah.
So he has $9 million raised from all these investors. And in a warehouse in Melbourne, he set up 30 computers with 12 laser printers. He hired 16 full-time employees to print 7 million tickets pre-populated with every combination, a process that took 3 months. He then shipped 1 ton of paperweight to a point person in the U.S. at the cost of $60,000. So now he's got all the tickets in Virginia, but he has to go. He's got, however many, like 3 million tickets. He has to go place them at the convenience stores, the gas stations, everywhere. And he only has a 72-hour window because he's waiting for it to hit that number that he's, okay, now we're going to go. So he had this one guy in charge who then, like, that's a huge operation because a lot of places aren't going to take $700,000 worth of tickets in one night.
No.
It's like that's that operation itself that now this gas station has to do. But they did it. And he said if even one number didn't make it through, mathematically the combination is fucked.
Right.
It just seems crazy. So with the ticket secured in Virginia, Mandel had to wait until a jackpot hit a number that would make financial sense after taxes, overhead, and paying off investors. It got to $758 million. No, let's see. On February 12th, 1992, the Virginia Lottery jackpot hit $27 million.
Okay.
So Mandel's team was given one simple directive: go. And nobody, not even Mandel, could have anticipated the madness that would ensue. So they had all the combinations in. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how they think it's not going to work unless, someone dropped a combination. Something's just wrong. Maybe they could prove the lotto was fake real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other thing is, I don't know. I don't know what obviously any of the other advanced mathematic numbers put into it, but again, I wonder if he had, because like in theory, the lottery could have been, because it's out of 50, it could have been 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Like, did they have less of those combinations because of how unlikely that is? You know what I'm saying?
They had every combination ready to go. One of the chains who'd bought tickets in bulk got overwhelmed and quit in the final hours entering them, leaving millions of combinations on the table. So when the deadline for entry arrived, only 5.5 million of Mandel's 7 million tickets, 78%, had been processed. So that's a huge hit to his odds.
Yeah.
That's that 7-Eleven was just like, fuck this.
Times were getting Times were scary for a couple hours.
Mm-hmm. So he was self-aware of other ill-fated attempts to game a U.S. lottery by bulk buying tickets. I guess in 1990, a Sacramento retiree bought 30,000 tickets with a diaper bag full of cash and walked away empty-handed. That sucks. All right, so then it comes down to the moment of truth. At 11:20 p.m. on February 15th, the numbers were drawn on live television. In a nearby warehouse, Alex and his team frantically rifled through 5.5 million physical copies of receipts looking for the winning lottery number. I mean, you gotta, if I'm in charge of that warehouse, you gotta have like a clothesline with pins just in order. You gotta pay like some kids minimum wage. Hey, hang up these lottery tickets on clotheslines in order.
I don't think you had time for that, man.
Yeah, I guess not. But that would be a cool scene if you were to make this a movie. That's how you would lay it out
Right.
thematically and take up the screen. So, then, piercing through the carnage, a victorious shout. They'd won! When the 27 million ticket came up, everybody was 6 feet off the ground, Alex later said. Alex was his point person in America. It was the most incredible thing in the world. Purchased at a farm fresh in Chesapeake, the ticket had processed in the twilight hours. Alex's diligence had paid off. From his home in Australia, Mendel sent out a short message to his 2,524 investors. One of our target lotteries did jackpot to our required level. He wrote, we entered and won. Then they won 400 secondary prizes as well. So Virginia was like, what?
Excuse me?
A man in Australia won the Virginia lottery and he won 400 of them? What do you think they did?
I'd like to think they have some law in place where they could be like, something's up law. This ain't right.
This smells and I don't like it. Mandel was subjected to a four-year legal crusade in which he was personally investigated by 14 international agencies, including the CIA, FBI, RIS, National Crime Authority, and Australian Securities Commission. But in the end, neither Mandel nor the International Lotto Fund was found guilty of any wrongdoing. So this guy won.
Yeah, that's cool.
He became a folk hero in Australia. A widely circulated cartoon depicted him as a kangaroo hopping out of the U.S. with a pouch full of cash. How pissed are you if you're like a Virginian and a fucking smart guy from Australia, Romania, won the lotto?
That old Virginia-Australia rivalry rekindled.
Like, give us dumb Virginians something to look forward to. First they came and took our slaves. Now they're coming and taking our lottery winners. Smart people.
Right.
Not Australians.
Tough Virginia episode.
The future, however, was not bright for everyone, Jake. 4 years after the Virginia win, Mandel's investors were still looking for their phenomenal returns. The investors, small business owners, machine operators, housekeepers, and doctors had been regaled with tales of riches and promised participation in up to 9 lottos per year. Yet, they'd only received 1.4K return on their 4K investment. Now, does that mean they got their money back plus 1.4K?
I think so. Because you think there'd be more of an uproar if they only got 1.4 and they gave 4, because that's not a return.
Yeah, so that's what I'm making sure. But because if that's true, I don't think they can be upset. They got money back.
Right.
I mean, the investment game is a gamble, right? You're not promised.
No.
So yeah, they can't really be that mad. Mandel paid himself a one-time consultant's fee of $1.7 million and sold the annuity on the 20-year payout to a U.S. insurance company for a lump sum of $14 million. What does that mean?
So I'm guessing... I don't know.
So I think they were going to give him a 20-year payout.
Right.
And he sold that to the insurance company and took the lump sum. I think that just means he took the lump sum of $14 million instead of the $27 million over the years. After overhead fees, he spent $5 million on tickets and $500K in expenses. He was left with a nice sum. I mean, he was left with like $10 million, and then he gave the investors some coin. Records show that he funneled his cash into the Pacific Basin Fund, a Hong Kong-based account managed by his brother-in-law. What we calculated to be the reality has changed, he wrote in 1994 letter to investors. It may not seem such a hot investment now. After that, his investors' updates went cold. So he gave him a little bit of money and went on his way. I don't know how much of a bad guy that is.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what he actually told them. I mean, he told them they were going to partake in 9 lottos a year, which I'm guessing he flaunted a lot of percentages in math and told them we're going to win, I'd say 8 out of 9 or some sort of semi-ridiculous number. And then he got his big fish, gave them a little bit, and was like, I'm done.
Yeah, so, I mean, probably a bad guy because the living room conversations were probably like lies. But I mean, anytime an investor is selling you in something, you have to think, hey, 80% of this may be true, but there's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much of a bad guy that makes him. He won. He did get them money, made him some money. After failed attempts at launching a life insurance company and a lottery system in the British territory of Gibraltar, Mandel declared bankruptcy in 1995. But you can have a lot of money and declare bankruptcy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. He then spent the next decade running various investment scams, one of which earned him a 20-month prison sentence in Israel. Don't go to Israel and run any scams.
Yeah, I mean, I think this guy is shadier than we've previously depicted up to this point.
Yep. Stephan Mandel is not only irrelevant, he's toxic, a disgruntled investor quipped.
Wow.
And what became of the mastermind? Today, Mandel spends his days at a beach house on a remote tropical island in Vanuatu. No way I said that right. A country off the coast of Australia. He lives a quiet life and reports being retired from the lottery. So this dude kind of won. I mean, if he's okay with like his shady business, like he accepts it and he doesn't care, dude kind of won life.
Yeah, minus the 20-month prison sentence.
That was a blast. Stories.
Don't think so.
Got away from the wife for a little bit.
Sure.
Israel prison. How bad could it be? Pretty crazy story.
Yeah.
You want to try and win the lotto now?
Not really. It'd be okay.
It would be okay. There's a story like this about like a Taco Bell car. It was Pepsi. Pepsi said there was going to be like they were going to give out this. Pepsi said they were going to give out this campaign, and they were going to give out a Harrier jet, right? Some big jet, and it was like if you won, you would buy Pepsi, and you would collect points from bottles in exchange for prizes, and the biggest prize was a Harrier jet. And this kid like put together like, the amount of Pepsi it would take to get these points is way less than the amount this jet's worth. So he just went to an investor company and had people put in the money, and then they won the jet, and then they sold it, and like it went to court. It was this big court case, Leonard versus PepsiCo. I don't know who won. Let me find out who won real quick since I did say this. The court presided over judge rejected Leonard's claims and denied recovery on several grounds. The court found that even if the advertisement had been an offer, no reasonable person could have believed that the company seriously intended to convey a jet worth roughly $23 million for $70,000, and that it was puffery. So I think Pepsi won.
That sucks. Puffery. Puffery holds up in the court of law.
In justifying its conclusion that the commercial was evidently done in jest and that the notion of traveling to school in a Harrier jet is an exaggerated adolescent fantasy, the court made several observations regarding the nature and content of the commercial. So, like, they took out the lines of dialogue in the commercial. Like the teenagers comment that flying a Harrier jet to school sure beats the bus, and evinces an improbably word I don't know attitude towards the relative difficulty and danger of piloting a fighter plane in a residential area. No school would provide landing space for a student's fighter jet or condone the disruption the jet's use would cause. So this commercial is obviously fake. Interesting.
Did we open this up with cynically optimistic? Because I think the end of the Harrier story shows why.
Yeah. Pepsi continued to air the commercial, but updated the cost of the Harrier jet to 7 million Pepsi points.
Oops. Sorry about the whole lawsuit with the kid that did all the shit.
Yeah, so the commercial was just a joke. That's fucked.
Yeah, we'll just update the commercial so it takes more points.
Yeah. Now go get your investors now.
Stupid little kid that outsmarted all of Pepsi.
That's funny. All right, so there you have it. There's some lottery stories. The Harrier jet one's pretty interesting, but Mandel won. Harrier jet, guy should have won. Should have got a jet. Didn't.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Like what would be the equivalent? Like, you get to be president for a day, and then like, okay, and you get all the points. Make me president for a day. They're like, that was a joke.
I'm ready.
That's a little different because that you could be like, all right, not president, but Harrier jet. Hey, give me that fucking jet.
Give me that jet.
Hey. No, just give me that jet.
Here's the points you requested. Give me the jet.
You go to Chuck E. Cheese and they're like, top prize is a motorcycle. Like, okay. Work there for 6 months, winning every single thing. I'll take the motorcycle. Oh, no, that's just a joke prize. Oh, but no.
No, because you put a price on it, and I paid that price, and now I'll be taking the motorcycle.
Bullshit. Cynically optimistic. That ends this episode. We'll be back next week with our last episode of Season 1 of Laughs from the Past. If you have some spare time, go back and listen to all the rest. Hey, that was good. What would you say your favorite episode is so far, Jake? Do you need to be reminded of some?
I did this the other day because
Someone asked you?
I think I was asking myself. I'm blanking now. One definitely jumped out. I might scroll a little bit.
Four Pest Campaign. Mike the Durable. Dancing Plague.
It's a good one.
Dancing Plague.
I mean, Dancing Plague is one of the OG, great ones.
The Sacred Band of Thebes. Abe Lincoln in a Duel.
No, that's less my speed.
Ghost
Good
Army.
Speed.
Ghost Army.
Ghost Army's up there. I think Ghost Army and the Dancing Lady are my 1A, 1B.
What about the Men's Marathon?
It's a good one. It's good. That was the best movie.
What about Mad Jack Churchill?
It's good, man. You're going to do them all? I could just send them all your way, too. How about First U.S. Bank Robbery? Operation Mincemeat. Roy Sullivan, the Spark Ranger.
That was funny because you hated Roy Sullivan. I think
still do.
I think my go-to episodes would be for funny. I would do the Durable, and for funny, I would do the Durable and the Sacred Band of Thebes. For like really interesting, I would do World's Largest Diamond and the Deadly Eruption of Mount Pele.
Mount Pele is good too.
Mount Pele.
Dancing Plague, and Ghost Army are my top three.
I thought the Incas getting captured was really interesting as well.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you've been listening, for every episode, go leave a review, 5-star review after you subscribe, and let us know which episode is your favorite. Which episode, if you were to say, hey, you guys should go listen to Talking Yanks. If you guys should go listen to Laughs from the Past, because we know you're telling all your friends, doing real good by us. We appreciate it. Which episode do you pass on to people? Listen, you got to listen to this one. I'm actually pretty curious. That's had to happen a couple times. I'm curious, what is your pass this episode on episode? 5-star review. Those help us. All right. See you guys later. We'll be back next week with another Laugh from the Past. See ya. Say bye, Jake.
Bye, Jake.